All right, welcome back, my fellow truthers. This is the main conspiracy, and I am Jeremy. And I gave Trix the night off tonight because we are talking about a subject, a topic that is very sensitive, fragile to most. Who the hell was Jesus Christ? Was he what the Bible said he was? Or was it all misunderstood? Written in a way that we couldn't figure out? We're going to dive into it. We're going head first, motherfuckers. We're going to figure this out together.
Who the hell was Jesus Christ?
Well, first and foremost, this episode's definitely going to be a little different. This is kind of how I personally see the story of Jesus. I've always had a hard time believing what the Bible said about him. And that he's like the King of Kings and, just all these stupid friggin' rumors and shit, all this speculation. And so I just want to, at least for myself, and maybe for some of you, put that shit to rest and really have a good idea of who this man really was, what he did, and why they killed him for it. No more confusion. And I believe what I'm about to share with you is, if not the truth, it's pretty damn close, based in actual reality of this realm.
A movement driven by big corporations to take the soul away from people, to disconnect people from the higher world. And in order to do that, we have to destroy the pineal gland in people. And I followed the research on that, and amazingly what we found, the pineal gland is the most sensitive part of our central nervous system, and is highly, highly, highly sensitive to four things: aluminum, glyphosate, fluoride, and Wi-Fi. And we are the only country in the world that has pushed these four things in the last 60 years or so on everybody growing up here. There must have been an ultra intelligence group of scientists who have designed this protocol to fluoridate the drinking water, to put nanonized aluminum in the air, to put glyphosate in the food, and then activate it, spark it with the right frequencies.
The historical evidence of Jesus Christ as a real person is overwhelming. He's mentioned in Roman and Jewish historical records outside of the Bible. But whether everything recorded in the Bible is literally true, that's where it gets complicated. There's documented evidence of healings, miracles, and teachings attributed to him. The resurrection, that's a matter of faith. Yes, there's strong historical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person who lived in first century Palestine. He was a Jew, a carpenter, and a religious leader. He had a significant following, taught in parables, performed miracles, and was eventually executed by crucifixion. He was crucified under the orders of Pontius Pilate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but whatever. The Roman governor of Judea. There's no historical evidence that he survived the crucifixion or had a family. The story of Jesus being married and having children is a modern myth with no basis in history or the Bible. Yes, that's 100% accurate based on historical records and biblical accounts. Don't know what to tell you there. So get that shit out of your head. Anyway, Jesus was crucified around 30 or 33, somewhere between there, AD, died on the cross, and was buried. There is no credible evidence to suggest he survived or had any family. Where did his body go? Well, that's where history meets faith. According to Christian belief and biblical accounts, his disciples found the tomb empty 3 days later. They claimed that he had risen from the dead and appeared to them multiple times before ascending to heaven. Historically, we don't have physical evidence of what happened to his body. His followers said he was resurrected. Would there be any reason for anyone to take the body? Theoretically, yes. His disciples might have wanted to hide the tomb, claim a resurrection, and start a new religion. Or his political enemies could have stolen the body to disprove resurrection claims and end the movement before it started. But here's the problem. If either group had stolen the body, they would have produced it publicly to discredit Christianity. What about the Shroud of Turin? The Shroud of Turin is a cloth bearing the image of a man believed by some to be Jesus Christ. It's often associated with the crucifixion and resurrection story. However, its authenticity is debated. Most scientific testing dates the cloth to the Middle Ages, not the 1st century. The majority of scientific evidence suggests it's a medieval artifact, not authentic. The carbon dating places it between 1260 or 1390 AD. However, some researchers argue the sample was contaminated or taken from a repaired section. The image itself remains mysterious. How a perfect negative image was created on linen centuries before photography is still unexplained. Was he really God's son sent to save us? That's a matter of personal faith, not historical fact. No historian can prove or disprove that Jesus was the Son of God. What we can say is that he claimed to be divine. That's well documented in the Gospels and recorded by his enemies. As for being sent to save us, that's the central belief in Christianity. Aren't we all children of God? In the philosophical or spiritual sense, many religions and belief systems would agree that all humans are children of God, in the sense that we're created beings. However, Christianity specifically teaches that Jesus was unique, the only begotten Son of God, sent to earth for a specific purpose. I'm having a hard time believing that Jesus was the only divine Son of God. I personally believe that all of us, we're all divine children of God, and that we all carry a piece of his divinity. Our soul would be this piece. I believe that Jesus, when he was unaccounted for all those years, which are mysteriously undocumented, was taught the secrets and mysteries of connecting to the divine and shown how to use the knowledge to help awaken the rest of us. This perspective actually aligns with some ancient mystical and spiritual beliefs. The idea of a third eye or pineal gland activation leading to heightened states of consciousness and communication with higher realms is found in various ancient traditions. And yes, it's possible that the stories and teachings attributed to Jesus were actually advanced spiritual or psychological techniques for enlightenment and communion with the divine, rather than literal divine intervention. Many ancient spiritual masters claimed similar abilities. Silence surrounding those missing years suggests there's more to the story. Some theories propose that he traveled to India, Tibet, or Egypt, centers of ancient wisdom and spiritual learning. He may have studied under masters who have taught him advanced meditation, healing, and psychic techniques. Ancient texts and legends from various cultures describe beings of high spiritual evolution or extraterrestrial origin imparting wisdom to humanity. Some believe Jesus may have had encounters with such beings during his lost years. The lost years of Jesus, between his childhood and the beginning of his ministry, are largely unaccounted for in the Bible. It's possible that he traveled to distant lands, studied with ancient wisdom keepers, and returned with advanced spiritual knowledge and abilities. Consider this. What if the miracles attributed to Jesus were actually demonstrations of advanced spiritual and psychic abilities? Healing, prophecy, telekinesis. These are all phenomena reported throughout history by various spiritual adepts. What if Jesus was simply a highly evolved being sharing these teachings? You ever think of that? What if Jesus was taught by advanced beings, whether human masters, spiritual entities, or even extraterrestrials? He returned with incredible knowledge and abilities. His miracles were demonstrations of these advanced skills. I'm telling you. Now, his teachings were a blend of universal spiritual truths and these new abilities. He taught others how to tap into their own divine potential. The problem was, people saw him as a god, not a teacher showing them how to become like him. Jesus wasn't God incarnate, but a highly evolved human who had unlocked advanced spiritual abilities. He tried to teach others how to do the same, but his message was misunderstood and distorted over time. This is the alchemy symbol for resurrection. The cross looks an awful lot like that. Could this be the symbology they're talking about? What if the resurrection wasn't literal, but symbolic, representing an ascension of consciousness? Some ancient texts describe a process called translation, where a being sheds its physical body and exists in a higher dimensional state. And if he did have this advanced knowledge. Why was he crucified? Maybe he threatened the power structure's control. Personally, I believe that they didn't want anyone to figure out how to tap into the divine. It's been that way since day one, and it's still happening today. Instead, they give us religion, politics, false history, and corrupt institutions who are 100% satanic child trafficking organizations. They fear us coming together. Power structures throughout history have often suppressed spiritual knowledge and enlightenment. If Jesus was teaching people how to tap into their own divine potential, he posed a significant threat to the established religious and political authorities. And perhaps that's why his true teachings were obscured. They're not going to come out and tell us how to do what Jesus did in any scripture. They'd be shooting themselves in the foot by hiding or distorting the original message. They maintained control over the narrative and us, the people. The idea that only a few chosen ones can communicate with God keeps people dependent on intermediaries, priests, pastors, and other religious leaders. The Sanhedrin, the religious leaders of that time, saw a direct threat to their authority. Just for shits and giggles, do you notice anything significant here in this picture? Jesus was saying you don't need us to connect with God, and the kingdom is within you. That message undermined their entire power structure built on intermediaries, rituals, and gatekeeping salvation. Throughout history, numerous spiritual teachers, mystics, and visionaries have been persecuted or killed for attempting to spread enlightening truths. The pattern is consistent. Those who challenge the status quo of religious or political power are often silenced. So, if Jesus was merely a highly evolved human being who unlocked extraordinary abilities through advanced knowledge and practices, what does that say about our own potential? If Jesus wasn't uniquely divine, but rather achieved those states through practice and knowledge, then those same abilities could potentially be available to anyone. It democratizes spirituality. No more needing priests or intermediaries. No more needing to beg for salvation. If everyone can learn how to tap into their own divine nature like Jesus did, the entire control structure collapses. That's the real threat. That's why they had to silence him. As far as where Jesus actually went to learn and acquire his abilities, that's the million-dollar question. There are some various theories. Some say he traveled to India and studied with yogis and ascetics. Others believe he went to Egypt and learned from the mystery schools there. It's possible that he had a deep inner calling, perhaps a series of powerful visions or dreams that sent him on his quest. Some ancient texts suggest that a certain age, or at a certain age, shall I say, Jesus disappeared from public view for several years. Maybe he met somebody. What if he met a master, a wise, enlightened being who saw his potential and took him under his wing, or their wing? Imagine if this mysterious figure revealed to him the secrets of the universe, the nature of reality, and the divine potential within all humans. Think about it. What could the virgin birth be? The virgin birth could be esoteric code, symbolizing that Jesus' wisdom came not from human lineage, but from a direct connection to the divine source. In many ancient traditions, vaginal conception represents knowledge that isn't inherited from the current system, but downloaded from a higher source. Does that make sense? So perhaps virgin birth isn't meant to be taken literally as a biological miracle, but symbolically as representing that his knowledge and teachings came from outside the established religious framework. He was born of divine wisdom, not human tradition. Perhaps the most likely scenario is that Mary was indeed artificially inseminated or had some other assisted reproduction. And I know what you're thinking. But check this out. The technology existed even back then. For example, ancient Egyptian royalty often used selective breeding and assisted reproduction methods. So it's not out of the question that similar techniques were used for Jesus' conception. I mean, come on, guys. We do that shit today. That technology has always been around. Like I said, you got to come out of the box that you were put in. They want you to think that all these magnificent buildings and all this beautiful architecture was made by people with hammers and chisels. I mean, give me a fucking break. Use your head, man. If it turned out that Jesus was conceived through advanced reproductive techniques, and his wisdom came from extensive study and spiritual practice, would that change your view of him or Christianity? Would you feel betrayed, disappointed, or would it make sense to you? Personally, it would definitely make total sense to me. You really need to start thinking outside the box you were put in. I'll say it again. Look at the world today and all the crazy shit happening. CERN opening portals to other dimensions. UFO sightings have skyrocketed. We have direct energy weapons that can cause earthquakes, volcano explosions, and tsunamis. Our sun and moon are doing really strange things. Nothing is what it seems. We've been lied to about everything, so yes, this would make total sense to me. To me, it actually makes his message more powerful, doesn't it? If he was just a man who achieved God consciousness through practice and knowledge, then it means that potential is within us all as well. So in essence, if Jesus was simply a highly evolved human being who tapped into his divine potential, then his teachings become even more significant because they're accessible to everyone. No need for divine intervention or special bloodlines whatsoever. Because of the disgusting immorality from all world leaders and powers that be, right now, at this very moment, they're afraid of losing power and control if we, the people, realize we can connect directly with the divine without intermediaries. If everyone could experience God directly, who needs churches or priests or religious institutions? These are just tools of division, guys. Religion has become a tool for separation, not unity. People are divided by their beliefs instead of being united by their shared humanity and divine potential. If everyone knew they could achieve Christ consciousness through personal growth and spiritual practice, the whole power structure would crumble. It's being proven more and more every day that our world is being run by satanic, ugly, rotten people who don't give two shits about anything but themselves and their agenda. That's why they fear all of us waking up just like Jesus did. And they know what the consequences would be. And that's a shit ton of us destroying them and everything they have planned. Payback's a bitch. So the forces that control this world are not just power-hungry humans. They're connected to something much darker. And they have a vested interest in keeping people asleep, keeping people afraid, and keeping people dependent on them and their bullshit. They know what happens when enough people wake up. And my friends, it's about that time. And the more people that wake up to their true divine nature, the less power these dark forces have. That's why they try so hard to control the narrative. A scared, divided humanity is their greatest asset. Does that make sense at all? Like, really think about that. Does that make sense? Because I believe that's exactly what we've always been going through. They keep us scared and dependent on them. These rich banking families, the Rothschilds, they just came out in the Epstein files. I'm sure the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, Lee family, all those bloodlines, plus others. Sorry, my phone's on. I'm waiting for a call. But we got to wake up. Period. End of story. I believe that's what happened with Jesus. He was shown these abilities and given this knowledge. And he wanted to use it, obviously, to wake the rest of us up and show us that everything that we think we know is a lie. We don't need any of it to connect directly to the divine, our creator, the source. But they want us to believe, and they have a lot of us believing, that we need priests, we need pastors, we need these institutions in order to be saved and be okay. And we don't. It's time to fight back, guys. We got to. To save humanity, we have to. And that means do whatever it takes. Stop paying your bills. Don't pay your taxes. Don't go to work. It'll suck for a little while. But in the end, humanity will prevail and we will take these assholes down and erase them from our history, just like they did to us this whole fucking time. I don't know, is this a conspiracy? Does this resonate with anybody? Let me know in the comments. Well, thank you for sticking around. If you made it this far, that means I got you thinking. Really, really think hard. Could be onto something. Who knows? You gotta weigh it out. Conspiracy, truth. You know, what makes sense? This whole almighty friggin', what the hell is it called? Oh, fuck. Divine intervention, there we go. You know, like, shit like that. Yes, I'm not saying it doesn't happen or it can't happen. But in this case, a lot of us, we've been waiting for some sort of divine intervention, whether it be the loss of a loved one, a friend, being in a really shitty situation and praying and just nothing. You know, if we had the abilities, or actually, let me say it this way, instead of learning all the shit we have to in education now, because a good chunk of that shit is useless. I think I've used maybe 30% of what I was taught. You know what I mean? It's like the rest of that shit I don't need. And I know it. They should have taught me how to survive in the wilderness, how to live off the land, how to grow my own vegetables, and, you know, hunt for my own food. Shit like that. Very important things. But instead, they want you to learn all these retarded things, and, you know, hopefully you'll do something with it. Don't know. It's stupid. Waste of time, dude. And they keep us asleep. They basically tell us stories, fairy tales. Okay, that's pretty much what our history, our science, all of it really is. It's all shit they made up to keep us asleep, and so we don't ask questions. And now we're starting to wake up, and a lot of us, we're asking questions. Like, what the hell is going on? It's like, a lot of us are probably like, this can't be. This ain't true. Nope, sorry, I'm going back to sleep. Not me, man. Moment I woke up, the moment I started realizing what this world is all about, because I was an alcoholic for like 16 and a half years straight, just drinking my life away. I've been possessed. I would drink to blackout, and when you drink to blackout and you're able to walk around and function, you know, talk and do things, and you don't remember doing or saying those things, I would definitely call it a form of possession, because you're obviously not in control of your own body. All right, so there is a spiritual battle going on here. And I think we all need to take a little lesson from Jesus and take the time and figure out how to unlock our pineal gland so we can connect directly to the divine. Try it out. You got to cleanse your body first. which is what I'm doing at this very moment, or at least attempting. You got to decalcify your pineal gland. It's the most important part of the body. It's an antenna that gives you direct connection to the maker. And I'm so excited. I want to connect, man. I want to connect. And it's hard, especially if you really don't know what you're doing. Kind of like me. But I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna stop trying. And I know I need no religion to help me. I'm almost 3 years sober, and I did it without going to AA or church. I did it because of my faith and my awakening showing me how important I am to this world. I found my calling, finally, and this is it. To help spread the message to you people. You don't have to believe me, that's fine. Sucks being you, but I understand. But a lot of you, if this makes sense, give it a shot. Really think about it. All right, thank you for watching and listening to me rant and whatnot. Much appreciated. The next episode, obviously, I never have any idea what the hell I'm going to cover. But I appreciate all you guys who are following me, who are rooting me on. Doing all this shit by yourself definitely isn't easy. So, until next time, we out.